smart little boy. But that just reminded me to take him up there. He did like Chinese food. He ate it.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. All right.
I know you're ready because
I got one more after this.
Yeah, you got a big one after this. Yeah. So we will get this rolling. Welcome back to one of the area biggest guys. You know what I thought of about an hour ago? This in 2 more weeks, and we are actually going to need a new topic.
Wow.
So I'm going to throw this out there to y'all 3 and myself. It's time to start throwing that topic wheel back into motion. It's been out of motion for, I think this is going to end up being like 13 weeks.
13, yeah.
So, I mean, that's a quarter of the year we've spent in one
book.
or like part of one
class.
Book.
Yeah.
It sounds like our Sunday school class. Everybody's going, let's move on.
Oh, I like it though, because
No, I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about in Sunday school.
Oh, okay.
They're all going.
I don't mind there neither.
I don't either. I think we go at a good clip.
I mean,
I'm there.
I mean, you have to think when Tim first got here and we got our Wednesday nights went back up, and he began Acts. It took him just over 2 years to go through the book of Acts. So I say we're doing pretty good. 11 chapters in 13, 14 weeks isn't bad. So, but that is where we are. We are getting close to the wrap up of our Genesis study. So I'm looking forward to what is next to come. I'm going to put some feelers out, get some topic ideas from people, from y'all, and realistically, I was thinking the first week after we're done with Genesis, we just kind of wing it and talk about whatever is on our mind for that day, that week, anything we've have questions over, or just kind of let it be an officially unstructured recording, because these are very lack of structure, but an officially unstructured recording.
Actually, that might be fun. Yeah.
So
this is the Potluck podcast?
That one will be, yes.
Okay. So we call these Potluck podcasts.
I like it. We'll just, that will be the title. I like that.
Yeah, I think
it's
works.
Simple enough. So as we ended last week, I mentioned that chapter 9, which is where we'll be today, has probably one of my favorite verses, which is verse 3. It says that every moving thing that lives shall be food for you, and as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything. I jokingly said, as we got off last week, this is the verse in Scripture that God officially gives us meat. Mm-hmm. And right after I said that, Scott over here had to make some form of, I'm going to call it a remark, not a statement. I'm using remark because that's what it was. And I was slightly disappointed in doing a little bit of off and on research this week, that there are a lot of notes out there and people that actually don't agree with that it's not officially giving us meat to eat. Yes.
Even though that's what it says?
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
They've taken it back to Abel and the flocks. And so...
Okay, that was before, this is after. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, yeah.
Well, I
Up
don't
till this point, and then God says that He gives us every moving thing that lives shall be food for you.
Yes.
See,
So
eisegesis,
get you a grasshopper, get you a steak, whatever trips your trigger.
So...
Well, they couldn't do it right away because there's only like 2 of them.
well, that's true.
Well, they may have populated on the ark, you know.
Well, okay, that's true too. Yeah.
Well, Eddie, I guess my pushback to this is just because it's the first time we
mentioned.
hear something like this doesn't mean that it has, one, been something that we couldn't do, or two, that it wasn't something that was done. So I think reading into it that this is the first, so therefore it means that we now have permission, I think is the eisegesis part that I would argue.
Well, the thing
So-
is, we don't know I've said it before, like before the flood, we don't know what exactly the animal population was. You know,
Well, and then-
dinosaurs running around, whatever. He might have said, well, don't eat that. It eats back, you know.
it crunches back.
I'm not at the top of the food chain right now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and there again, I think that if we look at the context of it, that we could say something along the lines, and I think that this would be more correct, that, maybe there was a limit on the number of animals and they wanted them to repopulate. So now God's giving them a permission to go on ahead and do what you will with the animals that are there.
Now, I will say that I found a lot of that out there, which made me really sad. Because I love this verse, just because for my frame of thought, God gives us meat, and I am a meat and potatoes kind of person.
Don't lie. You're picturing Noah and his kids out there having a barbecue. God's got a rotisserie going.
Yes. But
Dad, put some sweet baby rays on it.
Well,
but everything I read did suggest that the primary source of food, even for mankind, was fruits and vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Meat
It
was
was
not
easier-
a primary source of food like it is
it was
for us
easier
today.
to get, right?
Right. It was everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, and things that generally taste good run fast. So,
some the
That's a valid
buffalo
point.
or bison they could just push off a cliff. And
right.
they were dumb enough to go. But in general,
Yeah.
things that taste good don't typically
Right.
walk up to you.
Right, and they didn't have the capability of hitting something, at 500 yards like we do now, with some accuracy and stoppability.
No, you had to man up and go get it.
So, yeah,
that
that
playing field was level.
No, but there again, we know that there have been herd animals around peoples for a long time. So I think somehow we figured out how to overcome that and get a better source of protein, which is what animals generally are. So,
Right.
but there again, I mean, to your point, nobody can argue that we don't have permission to eat animals.
Correct.
Right. So if they're arguing that we're supposed to be vegetarians, here it is.
Nope, we can eat meat. It says it right here.
That's right.
God gives us meat.
That's right. Now, if you choose to do whatever lifestyle you choose,
That's completely up to you. But
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoy my prime rib. I have every Friday night. I go and get a prime rib. That is my treat every Friday night.
all right.
And I am not giving up my red meat.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. And I am blessed that I am a Gentile because I love my bacon.
That's what
So-
I've always said. If you want proof that God exists, just take quail, bacon, jalapeno, and cream cheese. Boom, there it is.
Or
There's proof
dove.
of God.
Or dove. I mean, he was giving them dove in the. So that's anyway.
Well, I even have a T-shirt that has a picture of bacon on it, and it says, "Bacon, one more reason how I know Jesus loves me." Just further proof.
For
Yeah.
proof.
And I wear
Amen.
it proudly. That's right.
So that was a quick topic of discussion. I just wanted to cover just because it is in my mind a fun verse to talk about for me, just because we get fowl and livestock and
Yeah. Hey, before you go back to being serious again,
Uh-huh.
have y'all ever seen that video on the internet of the Jew that ate pork for the first time? They
No.
said, how was it? Well, I mean, he's not a Jew anymore. He converted to Christianity,
Okay.
and so the first time he eats bacon, they said, "Well, what was it like?" He's, "It's wonderful." And I mean, his facial expression is like, good grief.
Well. You know, I've watched Jace talk about and on in the Unashamed podcast when he's gone to Israel and to the Sea of Galilee and things like this, and they're eating at a restaurant looking down on the Sea of Galilee, and you just see all these loops of catfish and just swarming, and he's like, I'm sorry they don't eat those because that is the most amazing fish there is, and here they are and nobody's eating you.
That's why they're all there.
because
They're not being hunted. They're
right.
not fished.
I'm sure there's laws there against building fires on the beach, but I'd go find where I thought the spot was that Jesus ate breakfast with the guys and the apostles and had fish, and I'd have to build me a fire and catch me some fresh fish, cook it there, and eat it, just to be in the moment.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you from somebody who traveled in Southeast Asia and some Muslim countries that turkey bacon just doesn't cut it.
No.
I've had turkey
just
bacon.
doesn't- It isn't it.
Turkey sausage ain't bad, but I've tried turkey bacon different ways, and it is not the same.
It's not.
Hey, here's something that'll shock you. I read a headline. I think it's on Fox News just a minute ago that Impossible Meat is filing for bankruptcy. I mean, who could have seen that coming? And which one of y'all going to volunteer to be the first one to eat some lab-grown meat?
I mean,
Not by choice. Not by choice.
I ain't eating that stuff. That's nasty. Anyway, sorry. Back to the root. We could do a whole segment on food.
Yes, we can.
Meanwhile, back at the flood.
Back at the flood.
Yes. No, the flood's over.
All right.
The flood is over now. So reading through this, you know, it gets into talking about in verse 4. It says, "But you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is its blood, and for your lifeblood I will require reckoning. For every beast I will require it. And from his fellow man I will require reckoning for the life of man."
Okay. I dig into that one real quick. So what does that mean? Lifeblood still in it? Don't eat it raw, or does it mean don't try to eat an animal that ain't dead yet?
well, I think it means that you want to make sure that you're not eating blood, which is probably what it means there. So
You can carry infection and that type of thing.
Right.
Didn't have
So-
a process for that.
Right.
So I think some of it is more of a health kind of
Right.
thing and contamination thing.
But they specifically mean like don't eat raw.
I don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't-
sure. I'm not sure that would
We'd want
cover
to.
raw. I think that they were more interested in fluids, and that you didn't want. I mean, because the Levitical law later on, you know, has the tendency to frown down on bodily fluids, including blood.
Okay, so
So
if God is eventually setting this nation to be apart,
right,
and puts, you're going to behave this way because pagans and other folks behave another way.
right.
It's going to set you apart in your behavior. So was that a practice? And I don't know the answer to that, but was blood a practice of pagan folks?
Well, yeah. Well, there was a lot of blood rituals
As
in
far
paganism.
as sacrifice and things
Yes.
like that, but ingesting it.
Yes.
I don't know.
I'm sure.
Cannibalism or
I'm,
something.
I
I'm
don't
sure
know.
there was.
Well, that's one thing I read going back to 6:1 through 4 is the violentness of the world. Part of that had turned into cannibalism, or could have, or they were eating. They were what's on the word? Not disgracing, that wasn't it, but were not properly ingesting, I guess
Right.
you could say.
Well, there was a lot. There was a lot of the Levitical laws that, looking back from modernity backwards, that it made sense. And I'll give you an example. Took a course at A&M called Feeds and Feeding. Dr. Howard Hesby was the professor. And one day in class, we were talking about nutrition, and he made the comment that for the normal sized person, the best meal that you could get would be to go to the swine center and push about 140 to 160 pound pig out of the way and eat what was in the trough. Well, believe it or not, a human's physiology and a pig's physiology are a lot the same.
Yes, which is why they actually use pigs a lot in medical school and things like that.
That's correct. So if you think about that, there are diseases that pigs carry that we get real easily.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a reason some of the Levitical laws were in place, I believe. Well, let me phrase it with the I believe, that God was smart enough to know that we didn't need to be messing around with some of the things because we could spread germs that way.
And didn't have a way to combat that.
That's correct.
Or know about it.
Right.
But God did, and He prevented us
Right.
from our lack of knowledge.
Right. So I think in this case, what he was trying to prevent us from doing is there again, Shane. I would say that eating raw meat was probably not the wisest thing that primeval man could do. But I'm going to tell you, from somebody who's been on a fishing boat and was real hungry, that you get a fresh mackerel or something, and that's pretty good sushi. And I've heard, although I've never caught a tuna before, but I've heard people do that with tuna, pulling them in the boat.
Wow.
So
I've never had it raw, but I've had it where, they threw it in a hot pan, and as soon as it hit, they grabbed the spatula, flipped it, and then they sliced it up with peppercorn coating on the outside, and
well, I'll be honest
made
with
a
you.
whole lot better.
I like my prime rib rare. So
Medium rare is what I get mine, but I split it with Heather. So
well, but there again, I think that what we're doing is we're getting some wisdom that's in the Bible that the folks in ancient Near East didn't know was wise. Let's just stay away from the blood and the bodily fluids, and you'll be all right. That's why there's kosher laws. Now I know this isn't Levitical times, but I would have a feeling that comes with the territory.
Anything
Sounds good to me.
add, Mr. Eddie?
Well, I would like
No.
to, what you texted, I mean, I don't know that I've ever given much thought about it, but yeah, the bottom line of this about the, reckoning for a life, kind of gives me pause now. I'm not sure I've ever thought about it in terms of, death penalty and what we
Well,
would do. And
Well, that is actually where we're going next. My two main verses, well, there were three. There was verse 3, but that we'll hang out in today is verse 3, verse 6, and verse 13. So we're going to move on to verse 6 to where it says, "Whoever sheds the blood of man, by man shall his blood be shed. For God made man in his own image." So when I read that again this afternoon, just doing some last minute prepping, I read the little notes or the commentary in my Bible, and I'm going to read that real quick because one thing I want to discuss on here today is murder and death penalty. So my comments say because of the violent desire within the human heart, God laid out a plan to women guard and the sanctity of human life. He did this in two ways. One, he emphasized that all humans are created in his image. Genesis 1 verse 26. And that their lives are sacred to him. Number 2, he declared a method of justice for intentionally taking another person's life. The reference points it gives in here is Exodus 21, verse 12 and 14, Exodus 22:2, Numbers 35, 6 through 34, Deuteronomy 19, 1 through 13, and Romans 13, 4. I went through and read those, and if we want to look at each one, we can. The one I'm going to put focus on, though, is Exodus 21:12. It says, whoever strikes a man so that he dies shall be put to death. So, reading these 5 different scriptures this afternoon, there was a very blatant separation, and you see it in Numbers and in or it's really in Numbers 35. The cities of the Levites become safe holds. But what I was picking up was there was a difference between accidental murder and blatant murder. Accidental murder, you could flee to one of these Levi cities X amount of time and then return into the world.
yeah, a lot of that was.
But if it was blatant,
Yeah.
you murder someone for malice, you scripturally you got the death penalty.
Yeah, yeah. So there again, this may be a precursor to Levitical law, right? So I mean, if we're looking at it chronologically, we came from a situation to where mankind had, gotten to the point that God just said,
I'm done.
we finished. So, yeah, I mean, it may be that there was some cooling off of that. But yeah, I've always taken this more as murder.
Yeah,
Right. I mean, premeditated. I'm mad at you. I'm coming at you with a stick and whomping you to death. Right. I don't know that I've ever. I don't know that I've thought about it much in terms of death penalty or there again self-defense or accidental. Right.
yeah, and I had heard that our term today, death penalty, has been mentioned in Scripture. Never really dug into it.
I've never found it.
And of course, then I come across today in verse 6, and in Exodus 21:12 it says, whoever strikes a man so that he dies shall be put to death. It's kind of that, my brain, 21st century Western culture, to me, that's death penalty. That's the way my brain sees it.
Yeah.
Now, 15th century BC, when this was wrote,
Yeah.
fifth bench, that did not.
Slip a gear.
Yes, it slipped bad. Transmission's gone. When the flood was taking place, roughly around 4,400 ish BC, versus when it was written in 17th, 16th century BC, around there, and when Moses wrote it, there's still a big difference in their frame of thought versus our frame of thought. My frame of thought is death penalty is what I take out of that.
That's
And
what
so,
it kind of says.
I mean, and when you read the other 4 examples, it kind of it really kind of follows suit. But in those, I got the separation more of the Levite cities being a safe haven for someone who accidentally kills somebody versus
manslaughter.
Yeah. Or
Involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
Involuntary.
So which I really thought was kind of neat, because as this puts, it says he declares a method of justice in verse 6. God gives the method for justice for murder, which made me think about the Cain and Abel story. Because when we go back to Cain, he's removed and pushed out, but he's saying Cain shall not be killed, which got more wheels turning, which came up with nothing. I'm not going to lie. I couldn't figure out how to put those two together, but it was kind of saying something different here, because per the story, Cain intentionally kills his brother. because of jealousy, is what it boils down to.
Right. That was
But
premeditated.
right?
Right.
But when we get into 9 verse 6 and into Exodus 21:12, we're getting that point that if you murder, you shall be put to death. So it's kind of, to me, I've been trying to put those two together since, but I haven't been able to.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if y'all had any thoughts on that, or
That's always been a tough one to wrestle with because God says, vengeance is mine, and, you know, but then he's saying, you know, if you kill somebody, you should be put to death. Does he mean, you know, after you die that your judgment is going to go a certain way, you know, at that time? Because Jesus wasn't here to redeem you if you turn to him. I don't know. That's been
I mean, there's
That's a
way
tough one.
smarter people than me who I'm sure have broke this down and who have analyzed this, and it really stood out to me about the differences there that I've missed when it came to the Levite cities, that it would be just be considered a place of refuge.
Right. Well, there again, that was to let tempers cool, right?
Yeah.
So if it was an accidental thing, you know, think of the Hatfields and McCoys, right?
Because justice
right.
had to still be there, but it wasn't a heat of the moment kind of thing.
Right.
It wasn't a futile thing.
Well,
But you mistreat or accidentally kill someone's daughter, and they come after you, heat of the moment.
Right.
They're going to take that vengeance.
right. No.
So,
Yeah. No. There is. I mean, you know, if your bull gores your neighbor, you know, you have to put down the bull, right? So there are some things that, you know, I don't know that we can be so absolute about it to say this is how this should be, or this is how it is. I guess would be a better way to put it. I just think we, you know, I'm gonna bare bones this one. You know, don't kill somebody in anger. You know, don't kill somebody in the heat of the moment. You know, that's what it's saying to me.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know,
well,
I hate to,
Well, I mean,
but there again,
even you get into is it Exodus 22 where we get the 10 Commandments, or 20,
20 or 15. Or,
something like that.
I'm
I'll look
almost
it up.
there. I'm almost there.
20 was when we get the 10 Commandments, and
15 is the Song of Moses.
6, Commandment 6 is shall not murder. I mean, it's
Yeah,
given
Song of
blatantly.
But is it murder? If someone
Well,
goes
see,
out and just murders a child, if you perform justice, even back then, they have a council that hears the case, analyzes everything, and says, "Yep, you need to be put down." Is that still technically murder to put him to death,
well,
or did you just kill him?
right there again?
I
It
think-
seems that there's some justification for people putting down other people.
Yeah, I don't think everything is murder. Just
right,
No.
right, which is like, and like I said in it's the passage in Numbers 35. It makes a distinction between unintentional or accidental and intentional. And so there is a separation. I mean, back Christmas Eve of 22, I was in a very severe car wreck. It totaled my 3/4 ton truck. One of the young ladies that was in the car that pulled out in front to me almost lost her life. That would have been, and in that sense, involuntary manslaughter for somebody.
Well, it depends.
I would.
The only way it would be is if you had done something wrong. If it was just a driving accident.
Well, she pulled out in front of me. I T-boned them. I mean,
Right. Did you run a red light doing it?
No.
Okay. Then
But
that's just an accident.
right.
That's not involuntary manslaughter.
But it's still
involuntary manslaughter is you did that and you just left a bar. And you ran the light.
Okay.
And she had a green light. And you ran the red light and you T-boned her and killed her. That's involuntary manslaughter.
Right.
Which
Okay.
they could technically, depending on all the parameters of the cases, up it to murder.
Yeah. But I mean, it was one of those things that really hit me hard because my truck, my momentum would have been the cause of that. Yes, she pulled out in front of me, everything like that. But my truck, my impact, that would have been what took her life.
Right. But it was just an accident.
Right. And so, I mean, I could really see a separation there in between accidental and intentional.
Right. You're out deer hunting and you're in a blind. There's a deer. Behind it is thick, heavy brush. On the other side of that brush is a dad and his son hunting. You don't know they're there. You shoot through the deer, goes through the deer, hits the kid, kills him. You didn't murder that kid.
Right.
Now, you see the kid and you still take the shot. That changes the whole thing. So that's what I'm saying. You would always have to analyze the case to find out all the parameters of what happened before you could make a judgment call. So, you know, there's guys where it's like show on TV, you know, oh, well, they put somebody in Old Sparky and then they tell the story of what he did to get put in that chair. And it's like, do it again. Well, he's dead. I don't care. Do it again.
Yeah.
You know?
And we'll have, Heather and I right now are on these serial killer documentaries. And it's just, it's insane.
I can't watch that kind of stuff. I don't want that in my head.
It's insane. But
as far as taking vengeance, I'll tell you this. I've said this my entire life, even before Chloe was even thought of coming into existence. The person that touches my child, they better pray the cops get to him. Because I promise you, the devil's scared of me knowing what is in my head, what I'll do to that person if I catch them.
it's
I'll deal with whatever consequences God wants to give me, but that fool's going to be sorry he ever touched my daughter.
Yeah, that's one thing I get really worked up about is kids. And, you know, when people harm kids for whatever reason, there is no acceptable reason, but whatever excuse they throw out,
I love the verse from Jesus.
Kids.
Don't touch children because it'd be better for you to have a millstone tied around your neck. Yeah, that would be the easiest thing for you.
I'm gonna say that's a new sound. I haven't heard that sound before.
Boy, it gets my blood boiling just thinking.
It
about
does.
It does.
It does. I'm enjoying the show.
No,
It's yeah.
No.
But
Well, all human life is sacred, so taking a human life for whatever reason shouldn't be done, right? We would want to. We would
all
refrain from
agree.
that.
Yes, I mean we can all agree on that.
Hurting humans, that's not good, you know. So we just shouldn't be doing that.
Shot.
Yeah.
Anything, Eddie?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
So let it be done. It's a good Yul Brynner.
That's right.
Right there.
That's my favorite part of that movie.
Magnificent Seven was just on television the other day.
I have. I'm at. I lean toward the death penalty. With all the things in front of it, I don't want it to happen, and what caused it in the first place. But I still lean that way. And if we know, and it's true, and there's a law, yes, I will support it, but without lock their tail end, put them away, and they don't see the light of day. And I would support that also. But Shane, I feel very much some of your
Passion there.
passion for family and for loved ones and for wronged people. And we look at God, we see the God of the Bible, and of course the standard for Him is His holiness
Mm-hmm.
and His absolute righteousness and His absolute justice that we can never attain.
Right.
But we can rely on Him to take care of it. He does say, "Vengeance is mine." He does say many things in the Bible concerning life and the preservation of life, and that it is holy. Don't take it. Don't kill. He does all those things. And as we as humans look at that standard, we can only feebly apply it in that regard. But I do think that while life is sacred, and it's sacred to God also, His standard of that righteousness and holiness and justice will not be violated.
Mm-hmm.
And so He comes in, there's a whole bunch of people, 87,000 people. I just drew that number randomly, but they go down. He has that ability and that righteousness and holiness to do it. So I do think in that regard that civil authority has that ability to do that, as long as we know. And if we can't know, then we lock them away. But all the time, there's God behind, and we have to keep that in mind also. And we have responsibilities for our family.
Hmm.
There's a whole big mixture of that in there, and it's very difficult to go between it. But in that moment that it has to be applied, as I get older, I'm going. But because I'm not in the heat of that moment.
Right.
So I don't know, Shane, if I could rise to that standard that you mentioned with my own children. Probably so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, for instance, you take it away from our kids specifically, and, I don't think that God is really going to hold any of the people that ended Jeffrey Dahmer accountable. I think in that situation, isn't there a story in the Bible where He tells them, if they do this, take them outside the city and stone them? So, He's not going to let...
There is justification in the Bible for taking a human life.
For somebody that is just absolutely evil. You got some dude killing people and putting them in his freezer and eating them for dinner, I don't think that that's a problem to go. You can no longer walk on this earth. You have to go.
Well, I'll say this. Christ told His disciples that one of their trips, everybody take a sword.
Mm-hmm.
Swords weren't invented except for one thing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's defend yourself and take a life.
Right.
So there's there seems to be a justification for taking a life. Now, I think when we don't take that seriously, back to your point, Eddie, that when we flippantly just go, okay, well, throw him in a chair, hook him up to the IV, and we're complacent or blasé about it, whatever, I think that we're wrong in doing that. But
and due diligence needs to be done
certainly,
to
But-
guarantee that the taking of that life
Yes,
is
the facts need to be bulletproof.
right. Well, and there again, I mean, somebody come in my house at night, they're probably leaving in a plastic bag.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
under the impression that that door that you just kicked in was locked for your protection and not mine.
exactly.
I mean, call that a
I mean,
Southern thing or a Texan
right.
thing, I don't know, but that's where I stand
No,
on that.
I don't. There
It's
again, on the
not-
other side of that act, I don't know what it would do to me as a human being, right? I mean, even something that I mentally right now could justify.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think the
it's-
legal system in itself would justify it. I'm not sure the mental ramifications of all of that kind of stuff. So even knowing and even believing that I have the ability to, I still think that on the other side of it, that it would affect me.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I can tell you that if it's me in the house alone, probably going to point at it and give him every opportunity to get out of the door. If Julian Clay are there, the minute he sees the gun, that's the last thing he's ever going to see. Because I'm not going to wait around to find out if I can beat him or not. I'm not going to take that chance with Julian Chloe. It will not happen. He's going down. Wrong house, wrong time. If I'm there alone, I'll give him the threats. I'll tell him to get out, and I'll hope that he leaves. If they're there, whole different situation.
And like you were saying, Scott, it's that mental capacity. Without question, in certain situations, could I do what I had to do? Yes. The ramifications for that mentally later, I mean, in my previous line of work, I've been around death and seen death, and
Right.
it's eventually it will take a toll on you, even though I've removed bodies from burnt down houses. Nothing I could do.
Yep.
But that builds up and builds up, and
Right.
then knowing at the end of the day you were the cause of that ending of life,
Right.
justified or not.
Yeah.
At some point, I really do think it would take some kind of effect on
Sure. I would hope.
I mean,
I would hope that would be the case with all people, and there again are vets that have been put in that situation.
right. I mean,
I
I do
have
that
more
when I
respect.
hunt. I mean, taking a life is taking a life, and you are ending that being.
Right.
And it's, yes, when I hunt, there's a completely different meaning behind it. One of the worst things I've ever experienced when I hunt, taking a doe, a couple minutes later, that fawn walks out.
That's a hard one.
And yes, is it the same thing? No.
Right.
But knowing that now there's a life that is most likely not going to survive because I'm putting meat in my freezer to provide for my family, it's still the taking of a life. And as a human, if you can't feel that, there's something wrong. I mean, going back to the Jeffrey Dahmer example, there's something wrong there if you can't feel that.
So let's bring this let's bring this back then to Genesis 9, because we've spoken a little bit about God's holiness and justice and righteousness and that standard, but on our end of the deal, we're dealing with the reality of human sinfulness,
Right.
and that's what's here. There's renewal, there's promise, but at the same time, there's still that human sinfulness, and God gave us the rainbow. He did all those kind of things, but we are constantly reminded throughout Scripture, and as the nation of Israel developed, and then Jesus Christ came, and through the epistles, we're constantly reminded to be in relationship with God through covenant and sanctification and doing all those kind of things. That those big words that Noah didn't know, but yet he saw God dealing with the absolute sinfulness of humanity. And they had to hear it, the cries from those folks, as they were shut away in the ark, knowing that those cries would be snuffed out.
Well, we'll segue directly into two women this last point for the last 8 minutes. God gives Noah his word, his covenant, and we'll start in verse 8. It says, "Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, Behold, I establish my covenant with you and your offspring after you, and with every living creature that is with them and you, the birds, the livestock, and every beast of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. It is for every beast on the earth. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be killed off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, This is my sign of the covenant that I make between me and you, every living creature that is with them and you, for all future generations. I have set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth." God gives Noah and his sons his word that he will never destroy the earth by water again, and creates a symbol that for himself, when God himself sees this sign, he will remember, I made a covenant with this man that I will not destroy the earth with water again. I mean, that I'm sure for Noah was one of those moments after what he just survived and lived through and was picked to do. I mean, that would be a sigh of relief for me,
Right.
knowing what Noah knew because of what he experienced, from the fact he walked with God, from who knows the stories from his genealogy that he was told, from his grandfather and his great-grandfather Enoch and great-great and so on and so forth, because even though you don't agree with it, Scripture says these men lived 700, 800, 900 years. You're talking...
We'll be getting to that in a couple of Sundays.
But, I mean, could Could you imagine sitting across the table from your great 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 grandfather, hearing his stories and his life experiences, and knowing how things were done, and the way your situation and your current timeline is?
Well, I can put it this way, because I do have an experience that would be similar, right? Because, well, 6 of my 8 great grandparents were alive when I was born, and I knew 4 of them real well.
Awesome.
So I had a great grandmother that was in the Fort Parker area, and she told stories.
Fort
Of-
Parker.
Yeah, Fort Parker, down Central Texas, where the last Indian raid was.
Oh,
Okay, well, she was in the vicinity of that and remembered the events. So I got to hang around with somebody that, could remember that part of history, So we're talking about the late 1800s, right?
right.
So, yeah, I did get that experience. One of my great grandfathers recanted a story when he was a kid. That there again, we're talking about Central Texas, Brazos County, where my great grandfather grew up. He said there were a bunch of men that came riding down on horses, caught a guy, threw a rope over a tree, and hung him right there. My great grandfather was a kid when he saw this. They'd chased a horse thief all the way from somewhere up near Amarillo down into Central Texas.
Whew.
Caught him, threw a rope over a tree, and hung him on the spot. Now, you can imagine how that would affect a little boy,
Oh, yeah.
right? But I remember him telling me that story.
Hmm.
So yes, I can only imagine what it would have been like to listen to the people that would have in that line of things would have been in America pre Civil War, right? Because I did have a great grandfather who was in the
or
Civil
even
War.
pre-Revolutionary War at that point.
Right, that
I
could be
mean,
close to
right.
That would have been a kid maybe.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. I mean, there again, the biggest moment where I just stood in my life that I can remember, just jaw agape. I was in New England. I was working for a company that their home office was in Hampton, New Hampshire. And I decided I wanted to drive up to Maine and go get me a lobster. So I drove up. When I came back down, I drove down the little coastal highway, and there was a little Presbyterian church that was there. Well, on the other side of the road was a cemetery. So I hopped out and I started wandering, and all of a sudden you could see the tombstones getting later and later and later in history. And finally,
I bet that was interesting to see.
finally I was
itself.
standing there, looking at a tombstone that had a 1600 date on it.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, all of these things in my mind started racing through that person would have never known about, or this was the contemporary of that person. And it was just, I remember just standing there agape, it was like,
I can imagine.
so, I mean, yeah, I can't imagine being able to sit across from, that one other generation. So, your point is made, and there again, Noah talking to Enoch, that would have been a pretty cool conversation, especially with him remembering that, being able to tell his kids,
Right.
I mean, that's all right. Yeah, that's all right. That wisdom, that experience.
And standing there when God speaks to you, going, "I give you my word, and I'm going to set the rainbow in the sky, not just as a reminder to you and to people, but as a reminder to me.
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean, even then, even in this, you can see God's love for mankind. He created us, yes, to worship Him and to acknowledge Him and to love Him, but out of love for us. I mean, why else do you create something?
Right.
I mean, why have kids if you're not going to love them?
Right.
So, but we'll wrap it up with that. Next week we get into chapter 10. We're getting close to the end, guys. Which
the end of the beginning.
Which honestly I never thought would come, considering it took us 5 weeks to get through chapter 1. Shane was so sad he missed all that.
Yeah.
But guys, I want to thank him and y'all for being here again. Eddie, you have 25 minutes to mentally prepare yourself. And to the Areopagus world out there, we will see y'all next week.